we're doing this evening is I'm going to introduce you to a couple of different rituals that will help you get better quality sleep. A lot of us feel that we are sleep deprived, that our minds are too busy, that we have too much to fit into our days, and that by the time we finish all of the things, all the tasks on our list and find our way to bed, we're absolutely exhausted. And then we lie there unable to sleep for what feels like hours. Or potentially you get to bed and fall asleep really quickly and then wake up and find it difficult to get back to sleep. And this is something I think that probably everybody has experienced at some time or another. But during things like this pandemic that we've been going through, where the stress levels begin to build and build and build, the things going on in our subconscious can begin to take over, can begin to get even louder and busier in there. So we're going to go through a couple of different rituals that are really good for down regulation, things that will potentially not necessarily give you a longer sleep. That's going to depend on time and all the restraints of your life, but hopefully will give you a better density of sleep. So when you are sleeping, it's going to be a better quality so that you'll come out of that feeling rested. We know with our kids that they really like routine, that they really like ritual. And so with our kids, we'll give them a bath. We'll put them to bed and read them a bedtime story. And we begin to instill these rituals so that they recognize that this is a pattern, that it gets dark and we have a bath and we go to bed and we read a story. And this is all this downturning of the nervous system, this beginning to bring the kids into a place of relaxation, rest and digest, parasympathetic nervous system. So that we've done these rituals, we've made them calm, and then hopefully when we turn the light out, they can get to sleep. So we recognise this for our kids, but we're not so great at recognising this for ourselves. And while a bath and a bedtime story sounds lovely, that might not necessarily be what's in store for you. I've got a few different ideas, a couple of different things I'd like to run through with you. Now, they're not all necessary, so you can choose just one, just one of several. And if you can dedicate 8 to 10 minutes, that's all. If it's any longer than that, I think it gets a bit overwhelming. It becomes just another thing to do and just more stress added to your list. So these are just a couple of things that you can do to really just bring yourself down, bring the parasympathetic nervous system down and begin to kick into that rest and digest. So there's a few things obviously that we can do on top of this to make ourselves better, a bit more hygiene through the day. Things like having a cut-off for caffeine. So I know that I'm quite sensitive to it. It has to be pretty early in the day for me. About 2 p.m. is it for me. But that might not be you. I know my husband still drinks coffee up until sort of about 5 o'clock, and he's fine, sleeps easily. So just getting in tune with your body and working out the time for you when would be a good cut-off for caffeine is a good one to note. Another thing is the time that we spend on our devices, in having a cut-off time for that too. So it depends, I guess, on your job and how accessible you need to be. But to keep the devices out of the bedroom is a really great one. And to invest in a little alarm clock, like back in the day, so that you don't have those lights and temptations there in the bedroom. Or for when you are lying awake and then reaching for your iPad or your iPhone, is just going to wake you up. It's just going to kick you back into that sympathetic nervous system, which is not what we want at that time of night. So obviously these things are good, but there's a few things that we can do that can really change where we're at. And so the first one that we're going to practice with today is just a really simple breathing technique. We're going to take an inhale we're going to take a little hold, and then we're going to stretch our exhalation. And when we make a longer exhalation to inhalation, we calm ourselves. We bring ourselves into that parasympathetic nervous system. So I want you to find a comfortable seat. And I'm sitting up on a bolster, but I spend a lot of time on the ground, so this is quite comfortable for me. That's fine. That might not be the case for you. So you might prefer to sit with your back against a wall and your legs straight out in front. Or you might like to sit on a chair, something with a straight back, preferably a hard chair so it's not something you're sinking into. We want to have good posture. So we want to think about having a really long spine. Think about the crown of the head reaching up towards the sky and the shoulders rolling down the back. So find your posture and bring your hands to rest either in your lap or on your legs, just somewhere that they can ground, somewhere that you don't need to think about them. And we'll begin closing down the eyes. And just initially, with the eyes closed down, things can start to get a little noisier initially. But we want to see if we can just give it a little time. Resist the temptation to open the eyes. And bring your awareness to the breath. And the breath can really inform you about where you're at. So if we've had a really stressful day, chances are the breath is sitting up in the chest. We're not breathing deep down into our lungs or getting that sense of breathing into the belly, but we're keeping it up to that sort of top third of the breath. And so if that's the case, we want to begin to stretch it out a little. And we want to do this comfortably. So just slowly beginning to concentrate on the muscles that are tense and seeing if we can let them go. Often we're holding and we're not even aware that we're holding. So notice places like the neck and shoulders. Notice the belly. Any area of the body that you hold tension, the jaw, that's another good one. And see if you can just begin to relax those areas. Imagine that you have a pile of bright coloured sand or dust in front of you, something festive, and that you have scooped it up and let it go. And you're going to visualize in your mind that dust beginning to float through the air. And watch it as it slowly begins to settle. And think about driving down a dirt road behind another car. And you know that the dust doesn't have much weight. And once it's been stirred up, it can take quite some time to settle. And so picturing in your mind's eye this festive, pretty coloured dust floating and slowly and softly coming to land around you. Imagine along with the dust, you can throw up any problems, any looping thoughts, any prominent emotions, and allow them to vaporize. And allow them to gently fall and settle. So we're going to begin our breath practice. We're going to breathe in for a count of 4. We're going to hold the breath just for a moment. And we're going to breathe out for a count of 6. So a slightly longer exhalation to inhalation. And if you're not used to pranayama practice, breathing practices, then I want to give you just a couple of tools to make this a little more comfortable. So the first one is that as we breathe in, we imagine that we're breathing in through a straw. So the breath is really slow. Now, often when we're not used to this practice, we kind of gulp the breath. And after counts of 1 or 2, we've got nowhere to go. So we want to slowly inhale. And we're just going to feel to what's comfortable. I'm going to hold for a moment. Just recognize that pause between inhale and exhale. And then slowly exhale. And so think about the mouth of a balloon that you've been blowing up, and that you're just gently opening the mouth of that balloon and gently letting air escape. So we're not going to send all our breath out at once. We're going to slowly, gently, softly allow it to escape, which gives us time. So wherever you are in your practice, eyes are closed. You're going to take a deep breath in and a long breath out. And now a little gently, let's inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take a hold, little pause. And then exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. And breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Little hold. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Pause. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Hold. And breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Hold. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Stretching. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. Coming back to the natural breath. And just notice how you feel. Notice now the quality of your breath. And slowly open up the eyes. Lovely. So that's our first technique, simply breathing. And you can do this one lying down in bed, or you can do it as part of your ritual sitting up before bed. Either one is fine. So the next practice that I like as a part of a ritual for going to bed is to do a little rolling for about 8 to 10 minutes before bed. So we want to be rolling an area of the body that perhaps holds tension, but we don't want to be necessarily going after our most painful or reactive areas, because we still want to be bringing ourselves down. We also don't want to be using anything that's too hard or too small. So if you're using massage balls, we want to stay away from the really little ones and come into something sort of tennis ball size or more. So I've got a couple of different options to show you. I've got a roller. And this isn't a foam roller. This is like a pipe. There's a foam roller, is a beautiful soft option. A ball. You can even take a tennis ball and wrap it in electrical tape, and that gives it a little bit more structure. And that's a good option. The other one is a bottle of wine, full still. Is another great tool that you can use for rolling. So we're going to start by rolling our feet, and we can do this standing or sitting. I'm going to sit today for the... Okay, we're back. So just taking whatever tool you're using, can be your bottle of wine or your foam roller or whatever you have. I think everybody's got a bottle of wine or similar that they can use, and just rolling it along the feet. And the reason that this is such a good technique, and only needs to be about 8 minutes, is that when we're getting this feedback through the body, this sensation is actually bringing us into the body, which is taking us from all that external stimulation that's keeping our mind so busy and bringing us within ourselves, which is a nice start. So taking one foot and then the other foot, and whether you're rolling them along the floor or whether you're standing up, I'm trying to take everything down to a low level to bring a sense of calm to the body. So I'm going to stay seated. And so if you're using a tennis ball, you can just use it to roll along the foot. If you're using a wine bottle, you can just roll that under the feet. All good. So after we've done the feet, and the reason the feet are so good too is all those little points in there, all those acupuncture points that translate to all throughout our body. So it brings a good sense of calm there. So the next place I'm going to go to is actually into the lats. And I'm just going to take myself down with the rolling device, whatever you're using, just sort of towards the armpit, and just gently rolling my body over the point. So to demonstrate, this is just as easy with a wine bottle. So it sits in that armpit. Oh, the thing about the wine bottle, though, is that it's quite firm. The others have got a little bit more give in them, so it might be a little more forgiving, a little more gentle. So if the rocking is too much, we're rolling into those traps, the lats, excuse me. If that's too much, you can just lie here. And because this area of the body is all sort of connected to the breathing or respiratory muscles, we can just breathe into it. So by taking big breaths, that's going to bring the surface a little more firmly into the body. And so we can just play with that. Nice. So as I said, we're not doing too long. We're not staying here for too long. We just want to do a little bit of bringing the awareness into the body, getting a sense of how we're feeling. Because this is another thing. We can be running on our adrenaline, just take it over to the other side. Our cortisol levels are through the roof. And so we're not even really aware of just how wrecked and how tired we are. So by doing a little bit of self-care practice before bed, we get a truer indication of how we're really feeling. So once again, sort of towards the armpit. And you might feel the ridge of the lats, which are the wings of the body behind you. Just take a little roll. Often quite a sensitive little area. And so I'm focusing just on a couple of points today. You could focus anywhere really as part of your ritual. Doesn't have to be these ones. But all we want is a little practice that's going to help to relax you, to regulate your breathing, because this is going to slow your breath down as well, and to pull you into the body. Nice, and then maybe just breathing and pinning the muscles onto whatever it is you're using. Nice. And slowly come on up. So the last one I'm going to do here is to lie back and take the pipe underneath my head towards the occipital bone. I'm going to hold the edges and just gently nod my head up and down like I'm saying yes. Really small movement. I'm going to roll the sore little muscles at the base of the skull. Over my roller. And then just a little side to side here, saying no. And then you can see just how slowly you can move from one side to the other side. So good. Nice. So just a couple more breaths here. And then slowly come on out. So as I said, we only need to do about 8 minutes of whatever it is that we're rolling. Doesn't have to be the neck and into the ribs like I did tonight, just anywhere that works for you. Can even be sort of in and under the bum. It's a nice little one on the roller just to take it back and forwards and just regulate your breath. So that's method number 2 in our nighttime ritual. And as I said, you only need to choose one. So the next option, the next thing I'd like to offer is simple legs up the wall practice. So we come and shuffle in. And we're going to sweep our legs up the wall. and lay ourselves down. Now there's a couple of different things that we can do while we're here. We can close down the eyes. But if you are one of those people whose mind is really busy, then you're just going to get frustrated. And I don't want that to be the case for you. I don't want you to be giving yourself a hard time or getting annoyed or whatever's going on. So what you might like to do here is to play a podcast or online meditation, or even just some really nice music that you like, something that's slow and gentle. That can be a nice time to, just to chill out, take in some, nice music, as I said, a meditation, guided imagery, whatever, something. And if all that's too woohoo, then just listen to some music that you like. So a final technique, and as I said, we only need to choose one because we don't want to get too overwhelmed with all these things that we have to do before bed. We just want to pick something that's going to bring us down and quiet the mind. So this one, I'm going to lie down, and you can do this one in bed. So you've set your phone away, you've turned off the lights, you want to try to make your room as dark as you can. You lie on your back, close the eyes, and just begin at the feet. And we're going to check out the tension in the feet and see if we can relax our big toes, our second toes, third toe, fourth toe and pinky toes. And feel the soles of the feet. And relax the soles of the feet. And feel the tops of the feet. And allow them to soften. Let the feet just kind of roll out to the side. And releasing any muscular holds. And wherever is resting, so if the heels are resting, allow them to become heavy. And take your awareness into the ankle. Just notice all the area around the ankles. You might notice the front of the ankle. You might notice the Achilles. And just allow it to relax. Anything holding, let go. You're going to come up to the lower legs now. And start by relaxing the shins. All the muscles on either side of those bones. And then feel where you make contact with the floor or the bed. And allow whatever's touching to become heavy. And so the calves get heavy. You release any tension in the muscles. And bring your awareness now a little higher to the knees. See if you can soften the knees, and the tops of the knees, the crease of the knee, muscles inside and outside. And then softening the tops of the thighs, all the way from the knee, all the way up into the hip flexor. And soften all the way. Soften the inside of the thighs, the IT band, the outside of the thighs. And then let the hamstrings and anywhere touching the mat, the floor, the bed, to get heavy and to soften, release, open up. Bring your awareness now into the bowl of the pelvis. Imagine that the bones there just got heavier, that the pelvis is an anchor that's drawing you, pinning you down to the floor. And soften all the muscles of the buttocks, of the hips, the lower belly. Allow everywhere in that pelvic region to be soft. And then bring the awareness to the lower back. Relax all the muscles around the lower back. Muscles in the side body, obliques. Muscles in the front, the torso. And so the belly is soft. Bring your awareness now to the rib cage. And just notice what happens as you breathe. Notice the subtle movement. We can never really release the muscles here. These muscles of respiration will move without our involvement. See if you can soften and relax the intercostals, the little muscles between the ribs. Notice that space between the shoulder blades, the space behind your heart. Notice as you breathe in how this gently presses into the earth. And allow the shoulders to get heavy. You might even tuck the shoulders underneath you a little now that the shoulders have relaxed a little more. And draw them down and back. And give the chest a little more space. Soften the chest, the muscles of the pecs. And soften the shoulders. Soften the arms, and deltoids, biceps, triceps. Soften the crease of the elbow. Let the arms get heavy on the floor. If they're not already, flip the palms up, open to receive. Backs of the hands heavy on the floor. Fingers gently coiled, nice and soft, as if you're holding something precious in the palm of your hand, something delicate. And feel the space between the fingers. Relax the thumbs, index fingers, middle fingers, ring fingers, pinky fingers. See if you can become sensitive to the feeling of the air moving between the fingers. Getting a sense of where you start and finish. And bring your awareness up to the neck. Really reaching the crown of the head away from the shoulders. The neck's got lots of space. Soften the throat. Feel where the back of the head makes contact with the floor of the bed. Allow it to get heavier. So that the muscles of the neck are no longer having to hold the head up at all. Everything's relaxed, gentle, soft. And feeling into the jaw soft. Back teeth apart. Lips are gently, gently touching. And take the tongue and rest it on the roof of the mouth, on the top of the palate there. And feel that energy move from the tip of the tongue right up towards the crown of the head. It's almost a sense of uplifting into the mind. And soften your cheekbones. Soften all the muscles around your eyes. Soften the bridge of the nose. Roll the eyes to look inside towards the third eye center, the space between the eyebrows. Giving the eyes a gentle point on which to focus so they can be still. And smooth the forehead all the way from the eyebrows back into the hairline. And then let the entire scalp be soft. And you can stay here enjoying how it feels to be in your body, to be relaxed, to be aware of all parts, and to have granted them all permission to let go. If you're ready to rejoin, just bring the knees into the chest and give yourself a little squeeze. And slowly come on up. So this gentle practice of lying down and just gently working your way through the body and slowly releasing and relaxing every single part can be a really great way to slide into sleep. So I look forward to hearing how you go with these practices. We need to give ourselves a little time with a ritual. So choose one or maybe two different options to have a go at and give them a go for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and see if just 8 to 10 minutes you can create a better space